You're watching Talk with Audrey. Despite advances in treatment and the widespread distribution of antiviral drugs, the number of people contracting HIV is still alarmingly high. Joining me to talk about their journeys living with HIV and why it's important to take control and have brave talks with those around you, HIV advocates and Positively Fearless campaign ambassadors, Daniel Garza and Kamari Laffey. Welcome.
Good morning.
Well, let me start with you, Daniel. Tell me about your journey and some of the challenging aspects that you faced when it comes to having conversations with loved ones, members of your community, and healthcare providers about HIV.
Sure. First of all, thank you for the invitation. On behalf of Positively Fearless and Janssen Pharmaceuticals, we're happy to be here. My journey started in September of 2000 when I was diagnosed, and my parents and one of my sisters was in the room with me. So one of the benefits was that they were able to be informed when I was. The downfall was that I didn't have all the information or all the answers to give them, especially in the Latino community. One of the hardest things within our community is the social norms, the culture, and the religion, which feeds into the stigma, the silence, and the shame associated with HIV and AIDS. So for me personally, not having all the information that I needed to have as a young man about sex and sexuality to be able to protect myself. I think a lot of people in my community, even 40 years after the first diagnosis, we're still fighting that.
What does living positively fearless mean to you?
For me, being positively fearless means that I can take my experiences, my wisdom, my knowledge, and share it with other people in my community. And the benefit of being bilingual is I can share it in both languages. So letting people know that I am no longer HIV positive person, but I'm a person that's living with HIV. I can survive, thrive. I can still have my dreams and my goals. And at 51 years old, still live my best life possible.
Kamari, tell us about your journey with HIV.
It's been a path of learning how to advocate for myself and learning how to be that voice for myself that I didn't have before. I didn't know I had it, and operating an intention, knowing that I come first and that whatever my desired outcome is for my health should be a priority with my healthcare provider, my family, my friends. So having those fearless conversations start with me and being able to show up for myself and know that that I'm providing the people that are supporting me with the right tools on how to do that best.
And what barriers have you seen in the African American community when it comes to being open about HIV and talking about it?
Some of the barriers are, outdated mindsets and stigma and challenges around how to have those conversations. And I believe that spirituality or religion can be a hindrance to that, a part of how we operate in disciplining or raising children by shielding them from certain conversations that can be designed to protect them and help equip them with the right tools aren't uplifted as much, especially when I was coming up. So I consider that and some of those to be barriers. In my household, it was don't talk about it and it won't happen. And that wasn't the case, because then when it happened to me, it became everybody's business. I made it everyone's business in my family to have the conversation about HIV by being public about my status, by answering questions and putting myself in position to be asked hard questions and deal with the tough conversations. So they've been barriers, but they've also been examples of living beyond the diagnosis.
And living beyond the diagnosis also means that you're both taking medications that help to keep the viral load down. Do you notice any side effects, and what would you recommend to people who've been diagnosed with HIV when it comes to seeking help?
Yeah. So for people that are seeking help, you can find your community if you're newly diagnosed or have been living with HIV for a while. If you haven't heard of the news around undetectable equals untransmittable, which is related to viral suppression, it's taking your antiretroviral treatments every day as prescribed, and that ends up lowering the virus replicating in your body, and you can't transmit HIV sexually to your partners when you're virally suppressed. And the side effects of medications today aren't as widespread as they were in the beginning of the epidemic. But for women living with HIV, there's recently been results of research showing that there's weight gain as a side effect that can date back for a few years. So having all of this information armed with you when you go to your healthcare providers or when you're going to a case manager or any type of support point in your journey, having that information helps equip you to have those conversations. I take research with me to my healthcare providers so we can talk about my relationship to food, my medical history, how does all that tie into living with HIV and what medications I'm on, so that we can determine what should be the best health outcome for me.
And Daniel, what other resources are available for people seeking more information?
Yeah, so resources for people who are, whether you're newly diagnosed or have been living for a while, and even for people, allies and supporters. Positively Fearless is definitely a website to go visit, check us out. Within the page, you can find links and resources for more information on HIV and AIDS. Plus, there are 6 ambassadors that you can identify with, and there are connections to our personal social media pages that you can follow us, go check out what we're doing in our communities. You can ask questions and messages us. So we're definitely a good resource for people, whatever spectrum you are in HIV.
Well, I want to thank both of you for sharing your experiences with us, speaking out and living fearlessly with HIV, and providing that information for others. Daniel, please give us that website one more time.
PositivelyFearless.com.
Thank you both for joining me.
Thank you for having us.